Influencers have often way overcomplicated the muscle building process. Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here. I thought I would chat with you guys and gals a little bit about this today, but a quick reminder, if you guys will please click like down below, be greatly appreciated. If you're not subscribed or following, please do so, and if you will be kind enough to drop me a comment down below, I would appreciate it so much. So let's get over to the topic. So many influencers today, including evidence-based people, have really overcomplicated muscle growth. This is something that we've understood for generations, at least on the stimulus side. There's a lot of trial and error. And generally speaking, what people have found is that volume isn't always as important as people think it is. It can be useful for burning more calories. Maybe in some cases, it really high volumes might help people stay more focused. Maybe they're just ensuring they're getting everything. But guys have also made phenomenal gains on more modest amounts of volume. As far as even form goes, look, even modern studies have found that a lot of people figured out good form in some exercises does help produce better muscle growth than target muscle. In a lot of exercises, it probably doesn't matter in terms of growth stimulus, ego lifting versus good form, unless it is compromising range of motion. Again, as long as the primary movers are failing, using a little, say, body English or cheating on something like a barbell row or laterals or whatever, it's not necessarily reducing muscle growth stimulus. It might be increasing injury risk, and I think that's a very real thing that we do need to look at and think about. Are we potentially getting hurt? Or is it really taking focus off the muscles you're trying to build? In a lot of cases, it's not. In many cases, it's absolutely not compromising muscle growth. Same thing, people will worry about things like angles of pull, lines of pull. This is largely nonsense. Okay? I will see people talk about, and here's the funny thing, you'll get people who will say, oh, that's science-based lifters. Well, how's it science-based? So why do people think that it's science-based? Because some clown says, well, I like to line up this cable or pull or press with the line of the angles of the muscle fibers. And then people assume that's science-based. Science-based means they've done studies on it, experimented with it, and compared variables. There's no science. That's just some guy making up a hypothesis who took a basic anatomy class. Okay? That's not science. There's no evidence of that. So if there's no evidence, how is this science-based lifters? It's just someone who looked at the body and said, aha, looks like the muscle fibers are at this angle. Problem is it's on the other side of a joint. Okay? If there's only one tendon inserting in there, do you think it really matters? Do you really think the angle of the pull up there, now the angle on the inside of that joint might matter? Sure, maybe the angle you're pulling your scapula at itself internally, yeah, of course that could matter. But all this on that where your hand is, on the other side, keep in mind the muscle, you have the whole arm on a lot of these exercises, they insert into the armpit or into the shoulder joint or whatever, whether it's the lat, the pec, okay? They insert in and then they fan back out. That angle probably isn't making much difference, okay? It probably isn't making much difference. Yeah, we could argue on a bench press, the higher incline might not be working the pec major as much, and might be the pec minor and a lot more front delt. But you get anywhere near flat, right? You take a very mild incline, you take a flat, you take a decline, you take a dip, that angle of pull doesn't matter. That works the whole pec major, okay? That works the entire pectoralis major. It's not gonna bias the upper and lower. It's not gonna matter, okay? Stuff like that. People overcomplicated it. Now, do certain things matter, like maybe the long head of the tricep doesn't get worked because you haven't worked the movement. It's not the angle. Long head of the tricep needs kind of a pullover type effect like I'm showing here. Whether you do it with a tricep extension or a pullover, probably doesn't matter, doesn't care, as long as it gets worked. Yeah, so that's different because that's just a function of the muscle. You're not training the function of that part of the muscle. But it's not about all the angles of pull and all that. So here's the thing, guys, what you have to look at when you're talking about muscle growth. Very simple. Are you working the muscle? Right? I know, right? Are you working the muscle? Is the muscle you're trying to work getting the brunt of the work? Is it the muscle or that head of the muscle, because lateral versus say long head of the tricep, is it what's going to probably fail if you reach failure? Okay? The muscle that is going to reach failure, if that exercise reaches muscle failure, that head or that muscle is probably the one getting the most growth. Please notice I said getting the most growth doesn't mean all the growth. Long head, that tricep will still grow from a press down. Okay, it'll still grow from an extension of the face. Of course it will. Still tricep, still part of the same function. Only difference might be like a rear versus a front delt because they're so different in what they do. Okay, okay. So is the muscle you're trying to work or the head of it the one that's going to fail? If the answer is yes, it's getting really good stimulus. Okay. Are you training it hard? Are you taking sets fairly close to failure? Notice I said you didn't have to go to failure. You just need to be really close. Okay? If you're taking sets really close to failure, you're stimulating muscle growth where you want it. Which is also why it matters of if you get there and say, let's say you're training a squat. You're like, well, the quads versus the glutes, well, they'll both grow. Like even if the glutes fail first or the quads fail first, the other is close enough. If you're 1 rep from failure, you're still getting some muscle. You're still getting muscle growth. So look, are you working the muscle? But specifically where you're going to see the most growth is whatever muscle is the part's going to fail. That's what's getting the most work. It's very straightforward. Okay? Do you have progressive overload? That's the other big key. Are you seeing a general increase in the work that muscle is doing over time? It doesn't even always have to be session to session, right? Are you seeing a general increase? Are you able to add weight occasionally? Are you able to add a rep occasionally? That's what progressive overload means. While using the same form, the same range of motion, can you pick up a rep? Man, I was doing 9 reps, now I'm able to do 10. I was doing 3 sets of 10, but I managed to squeeze out 11 reps on one of the sets. See, that's progressive overload, right? You're doing more work. Were you able to put 2.5 pounds on there? Right? I was doing 100 pounds for 10s, and they were hard, but I managed to put another 2.5 or 5 more pounds on there. I got 10. Right? That's progressive overload. That is your driver right there. Are you getting sufficient volume to see progressive overloads? If the volumes get too low, you'll stop progressing. If they get too high, you'll stop progressing. So that's really what you're looking for volume. How much is enough volume? Are you progressively overloading? You might have too little volume if you're not seeing progress. If you're seeing progress, you're probably growing. Again, this has been vastly overcomplicated by people. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I'll talk to you guys and gals next time.